Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we will be reviewing an e-commerce website. I am joined with the one and only Julian Goldie.
Ew.
And for this, we've actually not done one of these before together. I've done one with Carl. This is my first time doing one with yourself. I think it'll be really interesting to see what you're going to come back with, because it's actually an industry that you know pretty well. I know that you play the guitar, so I'm hoping that you can chime in as and when. Basically, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be reviewing a guitar website. So I will share my screen now.
Sounds good.
Before we get into this video, make certain to check out casualdash.com, where you can book me out for a free 15-minute strategy call, and I can go over how you can grow your organic traffic for your website.
I've been known to play a mean version of Jingle Bells.
Right, so this is the website that we are looking at, guitar.co.uk. They rank number one for buy guitars in the UK. They actually get a lot of traffic. If we actually take a look at Overview 1.0, I feel like that's the easier way of looking at stuff. I'm just used to it. But if we look at the traffic once it loads, there we go. They are on an upward trajectory even after the helpful content update. 238,000 keywords ranking for, or they've got 35,000 traffic value and 242,000 organic traffic overall. So let's take a look at what they are doing. First of all, I don't know if you've noticed this, Julian. They're actually linking to a lot of their big pages. So like the pre-owned guitars, I know that that's a massive market, and they probably are earning quite a lot of money. Same with like the acoustic, the beginners. From an e-commerce point of view, is this how you would set up an e-commerce website yourself?
Yeah, it looks good to me. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit overwhelming maybe on the homepage, but I think overall it looks good, and it's linking to the main categories, like you say, the big pages, and the homepage is where most of the links are going to go to, right? So you're funneling and powering up the other pages that you're linking internally to.
Yeah. Well, one other thing that I quite like about this website that not a lot of e-commerce websites do, I don't know if you've seen this yourself, is that they don't actually have much blog-related articles. I don't know why like people just automatically assume, I don't need any blogs, I'm just going to upload 10 million products and I'm going to rank. Is that common as well? Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, I meet a lot of e-commerce owners who are just interested in creating product pages and ranking category pages. They don't seem to care, no matter how much I try and convince them that they should be creating content that also builds topical authority too, right? Because if you're the expert on a topic, you wouldn't just create sales pages or money pages. You would also talk about informational keywords too.
Yeah, it's almost as if like it's a two-way funnel. Like obviously you've got your product pages, you've got your category pages like the best electric guitar pages, but then you've also got the other side to that where it is like your blog or your news related articles. And I just feel like once you start covering both, that's when you start dominating on topical authority. That's when Google essentially trusts your website a lot more. And that's ultimately how you compete against like some of the big dogs, like for example, the Wayfarers, the IKEAs of the world.
Especially if you're building your email list, if you're capturing a lot of opt-ins from that informational content, then as an e-commerce store or anyone selling maybe even info products, right? If you're a guitar store and you're selling info products related to that, the email list is where the money's going to be made.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one question I want to ask you, and it'll be interesting to know your thoughts on this, because this is kind of like the ultimate question when it comes to e-commerce: content at the top or content at the bottom?
So when it comes to actually having product pages, for example.
Yeah, so this is like a category page, right? So they've got like their offers here, they've got their products here. Some people, what they do is they'll have content here, or in this case, they actually have content at the bottom of the page. What's your preference?
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because like, for example, for conversion rate optimization, you'd think, right, have the products at the top because that's where most of the clicks are going to go. For SEO, you want all your most important words and entities and LSIs right at the top of the page. So I would test both and see what's working best. What
Yeah.
would you do?
So I love how you've just said I would test both. I think that's a brilliant answer to the question. I would test both. One thing that I have seen a rise of is they'll websites will have this content, all of this content right at the top, but it will have like a read more button. So you might only see like a couple of the sentences, but from Google's point of view, it sees the entire content because Google doesn't look at this side of the actual page. What Google crawls is this. That's what Google's viewing. They're not seeing the pretty pictures. They're not seeing all the visuals, the JavaScript, etc. So I would probably go with that. But again, I do know that a lot of websites have this style of content at the bottom. They rank pretty well. Like I mean, these guys rank very well for buy guitars online. So yeah, just test it out. I would probably go with a hybrid approach again. Some people have like a little bit of content at the top. They might have longer form content at the bottom. They might have a video at the bottom, etc. And one thing that sticks out, and I don't know if you noticed this, is they have got a lot of internal links, which I love to see. I'm guessing you would have a very similar strategy to this as well. Internal linking to all your roundup pages.
Yeah, it makes it easier to crawl and
Yeah,
sends more. The easier your website is to crawl, the better
yeah,
your rankings
definitely.
typically tend to be. Yeah.
And again, I love seeing this. Like this is honestly like a really really good website that we've picked. They've got the breadcrumbs again, massive. When you're scaling out a big e-commerce style website, having these is just from a siloing point of view, from a crawlability point of view, it helps big time. Yeah, go on.
When it comes to most e-commerce stores, for example, they're using Shopify, right, to host their site. They're not using WordPress, which means that sometimes they miss out on some of the SEO plugins that most of us use. Are there any plugins or a particular setup you recommend on Shopify that would be good for SEO?
So Shopify, I've personally found, and it'd be interesting to know your thoughts on this, is it's more so down to the theme that you're using. Because what I've typically found is there'll be people that come to me and they'll have like a really really nice theme, and it's like you look at it and from a visual point of view, you're like, oh my god, this is such a nice looking website. But it's more so like tailored towards ads, like Facebook ads or PPC, like running paid traffic. It's not actually an SEO optimized theme. That's what I would probably go down the route of saying, like, if you can get a custom Shopify theme, like developers on Upwork and Fiverr and stuff like that understand Liquid, not that expensive. They might be like £25, £20 an hour. They can essentially add in, for example, a product description, which is massive, or a product specification area. And again, from these two areas, you can essentially do like internal links. So from that, I would definitely say like doing a custom theme is probably even more important than just having like a specific setup.
So I speak to a lot of clients who have e-commerce stores and they ask for advice. And
Mm-hmm.
I know Shopify is quite good for SEO in some ways because you're set up as a real business, right? You're not like a
Mm-hmm.
niche site. There's kind of
Yeah,
some signals on your website that because you're a real e-commerce store and you're a real brand, it's kind of good for SEO compared
yeah,
to say a
definitely.
generic WordPress theme.
So let's dabble into your forte then. Let's take a look at the actual link side of stuff because these guys are doing a lot of stuff very well. I think what we should start off is with the actual branded links because they're going to have so many. They've got 700 referring domains, right? So they are a massive brand to say the least. So let's take a look at the actual backlinks. And what's the biggest thing that stands out, number one, to you when you're looking at these links?
So a lot of them are actually the URL, aren't they, in the anchor text?
Yeah, so they've went with a lot of branded as well, like guitar, like even so one thing Julian's just mentioned is it's URL, but it's branded, so they've done a lot of brand building. I would say a lot. Is there anything else that sticks out to you when you're looking at it?
A lot of these links with no follow.
Yeah.
And
Again,
directly to the homepage as well, aren't they? So many of them are to the
oh
homepage.
well. One thing I will say is I have just done exact URL, so we are just looking at the homepage.
Right. Yeah.
We'll do a little bit more digging when it comes to the actual inner pages and stuff like that. What one thing I'd love to hear your thoughts on is what's your thoughts on no follow links? Do you do them? Do you not do them?
So if we tried to charge our clients for a no follow link, they wouldn't like it at all. So we absolutely don't do that. I
Yeah.
honestly think that if you had the choice between no links and no follow links, I would take no follow links every day of the week. Like I still think they have some sort of power. They might not be as powered as a do follow link, but
Yeah.
and I've spoken to Carl Roof about this as well, and he's run tests where he's had multiple pages all ranking for the same keyword, and the one that actually has a no follow link compared to the rest with no links at all ranks
Mhm.
better. And
Yeah.
so I think it's a bit of a myth, but yeah, I'd like to see more case studies on that. Actually, that would
It's
be nice.
so what one thing that I'll say to you is when we're doing a lot of our client sites, whether it's SEO clients, whether it is our own rank and rent websites, we do a batch of anywhere between 50 to 250 no follow links, and we call it foundational or pillow links. We don't go straight in with the actual just guest posts and niche edits because it is a recipe for disaster if you don't have the correct foundations up in place. And again, it's just helping getting your brand out there. So if you're trying to rank for plumbers in Wyoming or potentially guitar shop online, if you're in a directory or if you're in Yell, that's all to do with guitars, or it might be a directory to do with lawyers and you're a law firm in New York, if you're seen on that page, it's helping build the relevance. Again, it's not going to help you push the power. No, by all means, it's not going to do that. It's going to build the relevance. And again, you're just being seen against all of your competitors as well. So it's massive, I think, no fault links.
I think they form a natural part of any backlink profile, right? If you
Yeah.
look at any real business that's attracting a lot of backlinks naturally, typically they have a decent percentage of no follow links in their profile.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like for example, these guys have a Wikipedia link, and naturally, Wikipedia links are no follow, right? This is just a coincidence example, right? But it's probably like one of the best examples that we could give. Um, but one thing that I'd love to mention is that this is coming from Brian May, which I'm guessing he's an expert guitarist or a musician. But that's a super relevant link. I would have that link personally. It's from Wikipedia, DR96. Even though it is no follow, it's still helping with a lot of trust, pushing a lot of trust for that link. So if you can get Wikipedia no follow links, by all means get them. WikiWoki does a lot of Wikipedia links. And yeah, from a trust point of view, every website has some form of no follow links. So this is another page that I want to take a look at. This is one of their inner pages from a link building point of view. What's your thoughts on this, Julian?
Let's take a look then. So we're pointing to some of the inner pages, right?
Yeah, so some of the electric guitar pages.
Yeah, so they're using like a classic outreach method here, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you've got backlinks from actual articles,
Yeah.
and then inside there, you're getting backlinks to your website, to your inner pages with relevant anchor text. And you can
Yes.
see from, yeah, typical sort of outreach link that you're getting right here. When I look at the anchor text as well, it's all relevant, but it's also diversified as well. So you can see most of the time, the backlinks have different anchor texts each time.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, if you look at the domain traffic of a lot of these websites, that's the only thing that stood out to me is that a lot of them are actually zero for domain
Yeah.
traffic. Have you noticed that?
Do you know what? It's I've started seeing a lot more of this, where the domain traffic is a lot less, but it's a super relevant website. So, for example, underground hip hop, I would say that that's to do. Okay, it might not be necessarily primary focus on guitars, but it's to do with music, right? Now, some people will say, well, I don't want that. And it's like, well, you're getting a lot more relevance from this link. So there has to be like a sliding scale. Do you want a super powerful link, for example, from Forbes, right, where it's a DR96, but not all of their articles are talking about music and guitars and stuff? Or would you rather like a DR4 website or a DR5 website, or maybe even a DR15, 20 website, where it's all to do with guitars and music? So there is always that fine balance. Like, don't get me wrong, there will be websites out there that will be like a DR85, DR80 that will only be speaking about guitars, but on the grand scheme of things, how many of those links can you get? There might be, let's say, 10 or 15. There's going to be a finite amount of links that you can get that tick every box, to say the least.
Yeah, without going on a crazy tangent, that's one thing that we found with some clients is like there always has to be some sort of compromise because, like you say, you can have a DR90 website. How many of those are super relevant to acoustic left-handed guitars in the world?
Yeah.
Not many. And how many of those would actually sell to you and are decent websites? Not many at all. So, for example, if you're in like CNC machining and you're trying to find the perfect link, it's just not going to happen, and you have to compromise at some stage.
Yeah, I always say that it's that there is a finite amount of links that match everyone's criteria. Once you've exhausted that list, you're going to need to go for that 8 out of 10 or that 7 out of 10. So the sliding scale does essentially go down ever so slightly. But again, it's always good to get those DR95 or that DR80 that's super relevant. Get that. I'm not saying don't get it, but at some point you will need to broaden your range of links. One thing that I've noticed with this backlink profile is I would be doing some tiered link building to some of these. I don't know if you do any tiered link building yourself.
I haven't dabbled with it at all, actually. No.
Right. Okay. Again, and with the more competitive keywords and stuff, it helps massively. So again, a tiered link is essentially a link pointing to your guest post, which points back up to your website. But yeah, is there anything else that you would want to add to this website breakdown?
It's looking pretty good. I can see why they're ranking really well. We've got the link building strategy sorted. Internal architecture looks really good.
The blogs.
I think they're doing all the right things, aren't they?
Yeah, they just need to 10x what they're doing. They need to speed up the process. I think that's been one of the better websites that I've reviewed. There's been a couple websites that I've reviewed, and they've been absolute shockers. But definitely guitar.co.uk if anybody wants to check it out. First of all, thanks Julian for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And if anybody has any questions, feel free to drop them down below. And if you want a free 15-minute strategy call, make sure to check out kazra-.com. Thanks.
Cheers.
Stop.